there, it's Kevin with RogueDeckBuilder.com here with this week's episode of the Tuesday Brews Day. Well, actually, it's Wednesday, and Tyler did a good job the last 2 weeks of writing articles over at RogueDeckBuilder.com for Tuesday Brews Day. If you haven't checked those out, definitely go do so. They are some juicy brews. I'll have links in the description for your convenience. This week, I am going to update the God Pharaoh's Gift deck. I haven't played this on the channel since the rotation occurred. Not much has changed with this deck. It still tries to utilize the combo of God Pharaoh's Gift, the Marionette Master, and the Metalwork Colossus. This deck can win as quickly as turn number 4. However, you have to have a lot of perfect scenario cards. You have to have a Metalwork Colossus and a Marionette Master in your graveyard. You have to be able to flip the Gate to the Afterlife on turn 4, and you have to have another artifact on the battlefield so that you can put Marionette Master at 7, swing in with Marionette Master, and then sacrifice 2 artifacts, one being the God Pharaoh's Gift, and one could be like a Hope of Garipur or a Walking Ballista to the Metalwork Colossus, which would equal 21 damage. However, this deck is more like a turn 5 deck. It's more like a grindy deck that eventually will just make your opponent lose life directly. Marionette Master is kind of a tricky card. Someone explained to me in the comment section, maybe more of a judge, of why this card triggers on activation and not on resolution. There's some weird things with Magic. Again, someone that knows the rules better than I can explain this, but a lot of people have tried to respond to the Marionette Master. You cannot respond to when artifacts are killed to the Marionette Master doing its damage. So even if you kill the Marionette Master or reduce its power, I've had many people do so through Harness Lightning. There was an Aether, what's the card that gives a creature -4, -0? They tried to do this in response to me sacking stuff, and the damage still went through, or the loss of life still went through as it checks on the activation, not on the resolution with Marionette Master. So that's what's kind of cool with this. They can't hold up cards like Harness Lightning to respond to the combo. Once the combo goes off and Marionette Master had a power, it's going to read that. Okay, so this deck has changed a bit. I've had multiple cards in various slots here. Right now I am running the 4 Aether hubs. They work with the Ministry of Inquiries. Funny thing about that is I have actually won a game by milling my opponents out. It was a very grindy game versus Teamer Energy, and the Ministry of Inquiries and the Rivulets were enough to, over the course of a couple turns, to finally mill off my opponent. The board was just so clogged I couldn't attack in, my opponent couldn't attack in because I had Marionette Master out. I think my opponent was waiting for Harness Lightnings. I was waiting for like another Marionette Master for lethal, and finally I just decided to mill. So there's that little, this can actually occur, maybe against control. That will happen more often. However, these are in here mainly just to mill yourself. Drowned Catacombs, they're actually very, very good in this deck because they almost always come into play untapped, or on turn number 1 you can just chuck them into play tapped, and it doesn't really hurt what you're doing. The Rivulets are pretty powerful in this because they have a way, especially on turn number 5 when you're ready to crack the Gate to the Afterlife, you can mill yourself and still have 2 lands open to crack the Gate to the Afterlife. So it's a very good card to find the Metalwork Colossus and the Marionette Master eventually in the graveyard. Then the rest of the 21 lands are running the islands and 2 swamps. So Minister of Inquiries is really good in this. It can crew the Harvester in the sideboard. It actually blocks like the 1/1 creatures quite well, like the Beaumont Couriers. Hope of Garipur, we're running a full play set. I started with 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. This card's actually pretty good. It can chump block. It can actually, it's another artifact that can sacrifice. You can actually attack in with Hope of Garipur, sacrifice it to set up a Gate to the Afterlife. So if you know you're going against like a control deck that has a way to deal with the Gate to the Afterlife from being countered with a negate or something, you can crack the Hope, then crack the Gate, cast the Gate, crack the Gate, get the God Pharaoh's Gift. You'll miss it for that turn, but then, again, if you're going against UB Control where they don't really have a way to deal with it at that point, then you'll have it out, and then the next turn you'll be able to start getting the advantage. The 2-drop slot, we're running Chart a Course and Strategic Planning. I've tested this out pretty thoroughly, and Chart a Course is much better because it gives you the option to discard a card from your hand. You don't want Metalwork Colossuses or Marionette Masters stuck in your hand, so you can chuck them away. Where their Strategic Planning is just kind of a crapshoot of what you get. So I think Chart is a little bit more powerful. We're going to run both of them. This slot is kind of awkward because I've thought about going Weaponcraft Enthusiast. The Enthusiast is really good versus the Raven Up Red decks as it puts out 3 blockers, as well as it's a pretty good target for the God Pharaoh's Gift to get back the Enthusiast, as it gives you a 4/4 and 2 1/1s, and then it also allows for the Marionette Master to come in as a 7/7 and have the 2 targets for the Metalwork Colossus as far as the servos are concerned. However, at this point, speed has been more important than clogging up the board, and so Chart the Course and Strategic Planning are definitely the speed cards. The other card we were running in the 2-drop slot is the Glintonous Crane. I like this over Trophy Mage. Trophy Mage was really good at getting Gate to the Afterlife, making sure you get it, but the 3 to 2-drop was huge. You want to be casting stuff on turn 2, especially a blocker that can block a lot of the Earthshaker Kenras. It can block a Long Tusk Cub that doesn't have any energy yet. And it's just one of those cards that is actually pretty decent to reanimate as a 4/4 flyer to get in that last bit of damage. So Glintonous Crane, I like the card. It misses a ton. We are running, what, 4, 8, 12, 16 artifacts. So out of the top 4 cards, it's pretty, you should find a card. Sometimes you won't, but it's definitely worthwhile to put in the deck. One of the best cards in the deck is Champion of the Wits. It allows you to go to draw 2, then discard 2, and then when you eternalize it, you'll draw 4 and discard 2. So even through God Pharaoh's Gift, if you still haven't found your combo, just a few resurrections of Champion of the Wits, you're going to find it. Gated Afterlife is the main card of this deck. It works really well against the Remnant Red. Once you have it out, your Minister of Inquiries and Hope of Garipur will loot and gain you a life. Same with the Glintonous Cranes and Champions. And you'll find your combo, or you'll find enough cards to flip it very quickly. And then eventually when you do flip it, you find the God Pharaoh's Gift. And it's very hard for decks to come back from that. You don't want to run it out into a Braids. You want to play kind of more of a cat and mouse game. But this is the way that you're getting the God Pharaoh's Gift. You rarely ever just hard cast the God Pharaoh's Gift. Marionette Master, of course, is the namesake of the deck. You usually do want the post-roll encounters on the Marionette Master, but there will be times that you'll just throw the servos into play, and it's still miserable for your opponents to attack in. And Marionette Master comes back as a 4/4 with the God Pharaoh's Gift, so that means that every time an artifact dies, it's 4 damage. Speaking of which, there is the best card in the deck, which is Walking Ballista, because it is very versatile. You can cast this for 0. So 2 ways that is important. That means if you have the Marionette Master out and you have some Walking Ballistas in your hand and you're tapped out, you can still cast an artifact that dies and get off that last bit of damage. So there's been many games where I've been able to reanimate Marionette Master and then have a Walking Ballista in my hand. So attack in for 7 and then just cast a Marionette Master for it to die and do 7 more damage. And then the other really cool combo with it is with Gate to the Afterlife, where with Gate to the Afterlife out, and you're struggling with getting cards in your graveyard, you can cast a Walking Ballista for 0. Turn 5, this actually comes in handy a lot. You cast Gate to the Afterlife, you're not quite there, you have a Walking Ballista or a couple of Walking Ballistas in your hand, cast it for 0, loot another creature from your hand into the graveyard, draw another card. If you have there was one game where I only had 2 creatures in the graveyard. I'd just been getting very, very terrible charts and strategic plannings, and had 2 Walking Ballistas in my hand. Was able to cast a Walking Ballista. It goes to the graveyard, triggers off the Gate to the Afterlife, drew a creature card, threw that in the graveyard, cast a second Walking Ballista, throw it in the graveyard, draw a creature, throw that one in the graveyard. Gate to the Afterlife is online. We're good to go. So Walking Ballista is incredibly important. It's also really good against Remnant Red and some of these other decks that have a lot of 1 toughness creatures. So you are wanting to run a 4 of. Meteor Colossus is kind of a flex spot. You don't have to go this combo. A lot of times you do grind out your opponent. But I like the ability for this card just to win out of nowhere. It definitely does come out of the main into the sideboard very often. Speaking of which, we have the sideboard. Sideboard has changed up a ton in the past. I've had more cards like Spell Pierce or Duress or the Harsh Scrutiny in the sideboard before. I think that this deck wants to be more proactive than reactive, so that's why Spell Pierce is just a 2 of. Same thing as Spell Swindle. I still like the card because it gives you an alternate win condition with the Marionette Master. If they've shut down your combo, you can still counter a 5-drop, and then on your turn, untap, cast a Marionette Master, win the game, as you will have 5 artifacts out. The Marionette Master will be a 4/4, or have 4 power, and then you can sacrifice the treasures that come with the Spell Swindle. Dispossess is good versus Torrential Gilhurk or other God Pharaoh's Gift decks. Lost Legacy is good versus Hidden Stockpile decks. You can name either Hidden Stockpile or Anointed Procession, and it's very, very hard for your opponent to come back. You can also name the Scarab God, which is really, really brutal for this deck to deal with. Or it's just very flexible versus a multitude of decks. I like just a 1 of in the sideboard. At the moment, I'm using Bantu's Last Reckoning because I found that Ihini's Expertise oftentimes misses. So this is like a panic button. I usually only bring this in versus Team or Energy. Treasure or Trophy Mages are still in the sideboard, when I bring in Aethersphere Harvester because it gives them enough targets. This allows us to play effectively 5 Aethersphere Harvesters versus the Teamer Energy and the Ramming Up Red decks, or any other aggressive deck at that point. And my latest addition I'm testing out is Treasure Map. This is going to come in versus Control to add a bunch of scries to help dig for what I need, as well as eventually, if it flips, it gives us a lot of card draw or just a win with the Marinate Master. So that's just the gist of the deck. Let's talk matchups. Last league I played, 4 out of 5 of the decks were Ramming Up Red. We won 2 and lost 2 against Ramming Up Red and 1 against Teamer Energy. Ramming Up Red is pretty 50-50. A lot of them are starting to play the Dinosaur. I think that the Rampaging Ferocidon, I think is what it's called. I think every matchup that I lost was due to not just the Rampaging Ferocidon, but Chandra. Both of those are very difficult when they have both of them out. It's hard to beat. Hazoret can be a pain, but a lot of time you can chump block Hazoret forever. And it's usually we are stabilizing the turn there, still have a decent life total, and they just can't win at that point. I don't know. There are definitely versions of the Ramming Up Red, especially ones that are going kind of bigger red, like they play the Glorybringer, for example. That can give us a bit of an issue, but at the moment I don't think we need like Vraska's Contempts. I've thought about Hostage Takers in the sideboard, but at the moment I haven't put them in the side. It could also go in the main. We do have some flex spots with Strategic Planning or Hope of Garapur that aren't necessary for the build. Glintless Crane can also be cut for those sort of things, but so far I haven't needed the Hostage Taker. I've tried Scarab God, didn't like it. It was just too mana intensive for this deck. So other cards, again, Harsh Scrutiny has been really effective at ripping out like Scarab Gods if you know you're going in Sultai Energy, but at the moment we're very low on black, so I don't want to be running too many black sideboard cards, especially ones you want to reliably cast on turn 1 or 2. So that's the gist of things. Again, we're still messing around with the numbers. It's done pretty well. I've gone 4-1s and 3-2s. Very few that have finished less than 3-2, so this deck has been profitable. However, the 5-0 has eluded me so far. I went 3-2 last time, went 4-1 the time before. I think all of my losses have been Ramming Up Red, but I still think I have a winning record against Ramming Up Red. Right now, on MT Joe, you're going to go against Ramming Up Red more than often. I think that everyone is just keeping it simple. It's the best deck against the variety of decks. Now that they've got the Rampaging Ferocidons in the sideboard, it's actually not bad versus Hidden Stockpile. And so, yeah, the Authority of the Consuls isn't just like a win versus them anymore. So, anyway, we'll queue this up and see how well we do. You can follow along in the description. I'll have the matchups. So this will be one video with all of the gameplay. We'll try to play the league. Let's get started. All right, match number 1. This is a keywell hand. We have double Glintless Cranes, Gates to the Afterlife, Minister of Inquiries. Yeah, this is about as solid as these starts can have. As we have Chump Blockers galore. Ramming Up Red with this hand, Ramming Up Red would be the match I wanted. They don't have any hate at the moment for Gates to the Afterlife. A lot of times they blow the Abrades very early for the Glintless Cranes, and so far so good. We are on the draw though, so makes this a little bit. This is a match I don't want to play against. What is this? Usually this means it's going to be either a control match, which can be pretty bad, but it's going to be the Approach to Second Sun cycle, and they're usually quicker than us. So we'll start off with the Ministry of Inquiries. We will try to get there. So hopefully they don't have the enchantment that allows them to. Oh, okay. So another island so far. So I have not a clue what we're up against. Some sort of Merfolk build just has the cycling lands. Okay, maybe mono blue. And here we'll go Drowned Catacomb. We want Chart a Course here. I think I'll actually attack because I don't want any of these in the graveyard at the moment. No, we can put another Minister or Glint Nest in the graveyard. Because I'd rather mill myself. Yep. I'm doing Chart because I want to make sure I hit a land drop next turn. And there it is. So in the Metalwork Colossus goes to graveyard. That's what we wanted anyway. So now I can definitely mill myself. We have the land for next turn for Champion. So my opponent's probably just going to be too slow with like a Merfolk brew. So this is in competitive league too. So this is cool that another person is brewing. So huge shout out to this Kier Crash. Thank you for being a brewer. It is very boring to go up against Ramming Up every game. So it will be a blue-green Merfolk deck. So I'll take one here, and I'm going to go ahead and mill myself. Oh wow. Okay, so we have the combo in the graveyard. This is gonna be very very tough for my opponent to and I might actually change now. I might go Gate to the Afterlife. There's a possibility of Spell Pierce being in my opponent's hand, so maybe Champion's just better. There's another Marionette Master, so Champion's definitely the right route to go. And we'll throw the other Marionette Master in. We want to keep a land for sure if we draw into one. But we don't need this Minister of Inquiries. I think Glint Nests are a little more powerful. Well, we have 2 Glint Nests, so I think actually throwing a Glint Nest. This is just assuming we draw into 2 cards we want to keep. So I don't think my opponent can counter this because Essence Scatter is a 2. Okay, perfect. So it will be the Marionette Master and it will be a Glint Nest Crane. And this does allow us to have the land. We can start attacking in because we need 1, 2, 3. No, I'd still rather mill myself. Looks like a 3-color deck, too, with this implement. So hopefully my opponent taps out next turn so that I can guarantee. So Bantu's Last Reckoning, I think, will be good versus a deck like this, unless it's more of an all-in strategy. All right, so there's a tap. Rashmi, okay. And there's trips on the Marionette Master, gets a Minister Inquiry, and a Glint Nest. So we're actually online at the moment. See, let's see. There's 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. So we don't even have to do anything here. And we can cast another Minister of Inquiries. So far, so good. Rashmi's kind of awkward. Wonder if there's any artifact removal. Another Metalwork Colossus. That's not important. We'll go ahead and throw out a hub. And that allows us to put out the Gate to the Afterlife. As well as another Ministry of Inquiries. I might actually mill my opponent rather than myself now because I have everything I need. I have creatures galore in my graveyard. Have Metalwork Colossus. So I don't think I can quite win here next turn. Depends if I can get the... All right, so it's going all in on the... I do have to worry about the counter-target activated ability. What did my opponent draw? The Chandler Initiate with that. So hopefully my opponent just decides to cast it. Best case scenario I can draw next turn is a artifact creature. I'm just going to get some information, see what we're playing up against. Unbridled Growth, Deep-Root Champion. Yeah, definitely a Merfolk build. Wonder if they want Revolt. I'm thinking that's what it is. Some sort of +1/+1 counter as well. Because there's 2 cards they want to revolt. So I'm thinking it's going to be the Winding Constrictor, but the Channel Initiate is really weird with that. And we got the Hope of Garapur, so we can actually go lethal here if my opponent just plays wrong. So what we do is we throw the swamp out. We'll gate. Throw out the God Pharaoh's Gift. Throw out Could be an unsummon. We'll throw out the Marionette Master. So let me do some math here. We tack in, tack in, tack in, tack in. No, I think we just go all the counters on. And I actually should have cast the Hope of Gariper so I could respond to it. But we'll swing in. So my opponent has to block the Marionette Master. If my opponent does not, it goes to 13, and then we have lethal. Yep, so that's game. So we just cast a Hope of Gariper. And sack and sack. And that's game. Sideboard. Sideboard, probably the Bonta's Last Reckoning is coming in. I'm going to bring an Aethers for Harvester as well. I don't know. I don't know if it's right to try to mess with what my opponent's doing. But we don't need the Metalwork Colossus. And we usually don't need a God Pharaoh's Gift. We can go like down to 1 because the other ones are unnecessary. And then strategic planning, I usually take these out when I'm bringing in other non-creature spells. And then it's something like either the Minister of Inquiry and the Hope of Gariper. I think we usually take out a 1 of Hope of Gariper in this match because it's just not going to do a lot. And then we can take out a 1 of Chart the Course. Or you can go all the way down to the Metalwork Colossuses. But I actually don't even know if all the Harvesters are necessary. That's what I think we'll bring in. I'm gonna go for 2 God Pharaoh's Gifts. You never know if it gets way clogged up. But we'll see if that's the right. I could bring in Lost Legacy for nothing. I have no clue what we're going up against with. I'm assuming it's just a lot of aggressive merfolk. This is an absolute garbage hand. We're going to mulligan it. Our opponent does as well. So, and this is also an absolute garbage hand, but we're going to keep it. So Chart the Course makes this better. You do want to hit land drops. That's the most important thing with this deck. We want that on the bottom. We don't want Double Gate to the Afterlife. It's very, very bad against the deck. This deck doesn't want to kill my stuff, so yeah, we'll hopefully draw into a non-land here. We want to draw into a champion or a Chart the Course. Inquiries is okay. Gives us something to do. Good news is we don't have to draw into another Metalwork Colossus. So we have our 1 of. So the reason why we run 2 is, statistically speaking, we usually get down to 30 cards, around 30, 35, 40 cards, between milling ourselves and drawing a lot of cards. So statistically speaking, if half your deck is in the graveyard or in your hand, or if you look through half your deck, you'll have a Metalwork Colossus. That's why you run 2. You can make the same assumption for Marionette Master, other than I think Marionette Master is a lot more important to guarantee you hit, and a lot of times you end up hard casting the Marionette Master. So you're going to be running way more than 2. Same thing with Gate to the Afterlife. You want it no matter what. But in theory, you could go down to a lot of 2 ofs. All right, so Gluttonous Crane is a decent little pickup here. Hopefully this doesn't miss. We've gone through a lot of artifacts, decided some of them out. It does miss, but it gets rid of a lot of pointless cards. Too bad I can't mill and respond to that, so. And we will just pass the turn. My opponent's off to a way slow start. So that's really, really good when opponent's not A, blue mana out, and B, not a 2-drop to really give us issues. That was terrible to get both the champion and Chart the Course got milled. Ugh. Wish I would have done this opposite with the Glint Nest. And speak of the other third worthless card that we just drew into. So we only have 4 dead cards we can draw into now, though. Being another God Pharaoh's Gift and 3 Marionette Masters. So, excuse me, we've been pretty unlucky with those mills. Yeah, all three of those would be useful. The other Gate to Afterlife's not very good. So we actually do have one Gate to Afterlife on the bottom and two other Gate to Afterlives that would be suboptimal to draw into. A land is fine. Because it gets us closer to eternalizing the, or embalm, yeah, eternalizing the. Oh, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please cast a spell. You can do it, dude. And we'll actually double block. I want them both to die. And it'll cost a lot of resources for both of them to die. Never attack into a God Pharaoh, a Gate to the Afterlife, people. That's exactly what I want. I believe it can't. Can it kill both? Yes, no, it can't. Lame. The Minister, huh? And Colossus goes to the graveyard. We don't quite have the... Yeah, I don't quite have the Gate to the Afterlife. So my opponent did kill the... Maybe we should have just blocked the Gluttonous Crane last turn. Because we have 1, 2, 3. Gross. We only have 3 cards in our graveyard. 4 if my opponent kills the Glint Nest. Oh, I have 4 in the graveyard. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we're really good. Okay, so that's... I misunderstood what the Unbridled Growth and stuff were here for. They're for the Deeproot Champion. I get it. So I'm sure my opponent's going to want to draw a card. Cool deck. I mean, these things get huge. However, in a format with Hostage Taker and... I'm not quite sure that's the right route to go. Again, though, I'm never going to insult a brew. These brews, I'm glad that game 1 in a competitive league, I'm playing up against a brew. Someone trying to make Merfolk work. Opponent's getting very unlucky by missing land drops. I don't know if my opponent even wants to attack in. I think that's a mistake to attack in because it's giving me the win con next turn. Now, I could actually throw the God Pharaoh's Gift in the graveyard if I wanted to, but no, I usually don't want to. It's going to be the Marionette Master. And I'm not sure if I even want to mill myself. I think Champion can get me there. Because now I have 5. So I'd mill myself. That's the... But then I'd be down to land. Nah, we mill myself. And we hit it. Okay. And we hit a Walking Ballista too, so this is lethal. All right, so we'll go Aether Hub. So this is a turn 5 kill. I believe. Do we have enough? Yeah, because we can cast the Walking Ballista. So we sack this. Take it out of my hand. Cast this for 1. And that's lethal. So I got lucky my opponent missed land drops. I wonder if there is like unsummoned type cards in this deck because... that's pretty sweet with the Deeproot Champion. So my opponent is trying to get Deeproot Champion to work. That's the whole theory of this deck. So Ops, Unbridled Growths. The River Herald's Boon's pretty good because you saw it put 3 counters since it's a Merfolk. So you cast a spell and you get 3 counters. The black I'm assuming is in here for Whining Constrictor, but it's kind of weird with the Chandler Initiate to be in there as well. I don't think my opponent needs that. Maybe we'll have to brew a deck around my opponent's idea. I like it. I definitely do. I think you can, if you're heavy into Merfolk, the Mimic, Metallic Mimic could go in here as well. So, yeah. All right, we'll go on to the next match. So anyway, Metallic Mimic coming in with Whining Constrictor, and then you can get a lot of value off of the 1/1 counters. All right, next match. Match 2. This is another pretty decent hand. We'll go ahead and keep it. We have 2 Ministry of Inquiries to make sure our Aether Hubs are always tapping for the mana we want. I'll still go at Rivulet and take the damage. Evolving Wilds is usually going to be a hidden stockpiles deck, which is exactly what we want to face because we're usually quicker. So I'm going to go with Ministry of Inquiries. This is like one of those matches where I could theoretically mill my opponent because we have 6 energy, which equals 18 cards. We have 22 cards at the moment. We can mill. I believe if I did the math right. 3 times 8 is 24. 28 cards. Okay, never mind. We are 100% wrong with Drown Catacomb into play tapped. Is that fine? Nah, we'll go Aether Hub. And we'll throw out another Minister of Inquiries. And throw out a Hope of Girper. And I don't know if I care about milling or getting in for some damage. I think I'm going to get in for some damage at the moment. So Scarab God is really, really tough. Opponent throws another Search for Azcanta down. 6 energy, 18. Yeah, that's 18 mils. Renegade Map. Okay. Okay, I was wrong. This is the Esper Gifts, or Esper Hidden Stockpiles list. So milling actually isn't that bad of an option. I'll still go Aether Hub here. And Champion. And get rid of Metalwork Colossus and the God Pharaoh's Gift. And geez, I might start milling my opponent. I'm not sure. This is kind of crazy. Now, do I stop my opponent from casting a Hidden Stockpiles this next turn? No, I think I'm still quicker. I think milling my opponent just helps a lot. Finding like other Anointer Priests, but like cards like Evolving Wilds has helped. I'll mill myself. And there's all my lands. Ballista's fine. This will come into play tapped. We'll use a Clinton S. Crane here to try to find something. It misses. And maybe I should have milled myself if I knew I was going to draw into another Minister. And I am going to stop my opponent from fumigating this next turn. Crazy, I still don't have the amount of cards in my graveyard either. We have 4. And I still have a start. Okay, so my opponent will cast a start. Can't cast Anointed Processions this turn. Jeez, I feel like milling my opponent. There's Anointed Processions, Hidden Stockpile's gone, Fatal Push. I honestly don't know if this is the right route to go. Another Walking Ballista. Unfortunately, we could get hit by a Fatal Push. Still have not found what I need. There's the Anointed Procession. Yeah, I don't think milling myself is where I want to go. Well, let's get rid of this energy. There's 2 hidden stockpiles gone. But I think that's all she wrote for. Hey, draw another land. I'm going to throw it out, though, the other Walking Ballista. Maybe I should have just pumped it up, but... Oh, wait, no, I should be picking off my own stuff. Here. Whoops. Yeah, it doesn't matter. So now I'm in the mercy of top decks. Ridiculous. Still no gate. There's the other Anointed Procession, so it can bring back the Anointed Priest here. Which I think milling my opponent's my only option now. Because I don't think I'm going to get there with... We can cast this Champion of Wits, but it will just draw a discard. So do I care? Do I wait a turn? I don't know if I can even wait anymore. I think I'm just dead. Because this doesn't give me any flexibility. We'll just pass. He's going to help me out. No, miss it. Oh, finds another Anointed Procession. Well, it gives me something to throw away. And we'll definitely throw that away and this away, and we're definitely going to go for this. We have 18 mills. But my opponent's getting a crap ton of... Fatal Push is useless. Surprised my opponent decided to even take it. Another Anointer Priest. And am I going to be one off? I think my milling is going to be one off. Oh, I have to use a life for this too. Yeah, I can only block enough. Yep, my opponent will have one card left. Pretty ridiculous. Went through the majority of my deck. We just missed. All those missed terribly. The mills on my own part missed. Wish I would have gone for milling my opponent. I would have had him. Dispossess comes in. This is an easy matchup, too, is the problem. I can't stand it when... do I play Spell Swindle? Spell Swindle can get Anointed Procession. I don't think I play Spell Swindle or Bantu's Reckoning. There's not a lot we need to take out here. Metalwork Colossus can come out. It's not necessary. God Pharaoh's Gift is great. But I want to keep as much stuff as possible to dig for what I want. So I think Hope of Garipur or Minister of Inquiries is unnecessary. Yeah, probably Hope, actually. See if hopefully the submit didn't happen. Yeah, we'll put the Ministry back. Or we could go Trophy Mages here. Yeah, let's go Trophy Mages. Hopefully got that submit off. Yes, okay. Because Trophy Mage helps us go grab the Gate to the Afterlife. Again, we have so much time against this deck. I'm not sure if the Metalwork Colossus coming out is the right move, though, because we can still one-shot. Our opponent can gain a ton of life, so keep that in mind. But usually this is the easy matchup. Double Myriad Master is capable of doing an insane amount of damage. When it's 14 per artifact, a lot of times even the opponent can't go above that. Do you know, I could throw in Treasure Map. Our creature count's way low, though, if I do that. I'm going to try Treasure Map in this one. If that hit. Yep, okay, it worked. Okay, yes, we'd like to play first. Keepable. This one's pretty good. We have the strategic planning, because we don't care about, really don't care anything going in our graveyard. I'd rather make sure that we hit the land on turn 2. And then we have a Chart the Course. And we have the Trophy Mage. So that should be pretty good. My opponent could be bringing in hate cards, like the Lost Legacies and Dispossesses, but we also have that. Lost Legacy hitting either, well, usually hitting Anointed Procession is too much for our opponent to deal with. No surprise, we didn't have one drop, we cut them all. There's a Renegade Map. We'll go ahead and do a Rivulet, Strategic Planning. And we're going to take the champion. Correct? Yes. So Hidden Stockpiles is out. We'll go ahead and grab a Gate. Pass turn. And then go champion, I believe. Next turn. Ooh, this is gross. So the Anointed Procession will be really good, because now my opponent can breed a ton per turn. But without Anointed Processions, we're still good. We have a pretty powerful start. Did not want that awful card, but we can throw it in our graveyard. Yuck. So only 2 cards in my graveyard. Don't know why I attacked there. Probably didn't need to. Triple hidden stockpiles. Wow. Okay. I guess it gets my opponent down. So he gets 3 servos out this turn. Oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get there in time. Especially drawing this nonsense. Let it go through, huh? Yeah, I should attack the other one. We're going to land flood out here. Yeah, I should have attacked the other one. That was stupid of me. I think we just lose to Anointed Priest if my opponent has it, or Anointed Procession, either one. But again, look at the flood. I think we're done with the lands. The binding, yeah, binding's annoying. Now we need to dig for. Oh my god, knock it off, deck. And duress. Make him pay for it. Okay, awesome. So it at least protects it. But I don't know there's a way we can come back here. At least it allows my good old champion to flip. Or to cast if I want to. Oh my hell. Okay, so I still think we go eternalize a champion. So gross. Whoa, I brought in Dispossess? Whoops, I think I brought in the wrong way. I didn't think I clicked on it. That was my bad. There's the Gate to the Afterlife, though. So do I want the... We have a Marionette Master in the graveyard, so I think I go... But I don't have creatures in the graveyard, so maybe not. But I have a Walking Ballista. This Dispossess is so pointless. I don't know why I brought it in, and we have to get rid of another. At this point, a land is fine to get rid of. But I'm going to get beat down. I don't know if I can quite get there with all of this coming in. Legion's Landing transforms. Can I do 17 in a turn? I don't think I can. I think this is GG. So, here goes nothing. We do have the good thing going for us. We have a ton of mana. The bad news going for us is we have no Metalwork Colossus in the graveyard, right? And we have no Oh, I can't even cast it with Ixalan's Binding. Yeah, Ixalan's Binding just beats us. I messed up because we can go Marionette Master here, and that gives us 5 blockers, but we still die, right? Gives us 6 blockers, so we still die. That was my bad. The Ixalan's Binding just absolutely wrecked us. So I give this whole spiel about how this is unwinnable for them and get wrecked. But yeah, I should have played around Ixalan's Binding. I don't know. That was some pretty bad flooding out there at the end. We'll go on to the next match. All right, match 3. Yes, we'd like to play first. We'll keep it. You keep lands, but this nonsense is always something you never want to see. Double Metalwork Colossus in hand. And no chart, no strategic planning, no champion in our opening hand. Our opponent does have to mulligan, so at least we do have time to get set up. Hey, Plains, we do like... Ooh, Beaumont Courier. What is this? This is going to be Mardu with running Beaumont Courier as the... Speak of the devil. Hi, devil. Find the other dead card. Now we have 1 dead card we can draw onto. Marionette Masters to a point we can draw onto. Love to hit a chart the course. Yeah, this is Mardu. I think I'm going to be too slow for this. Especially with this Beaumont Courier gaining... All right, I need to shut my mouth. We draw into the other dead card. So now we have 3 Marionette Masters and 1 God Pharaoh's Gift. So 4 are the only terrible... And I guess 3 Gate to the Afterlife we can draw into. I'd love next turn to hit a Walking Ballista. That would be the ultimate card to draw into. We hit into a Walking Ballista. We kill those 2. It can't crew the Heart of Cran. No, we hit into a pointless card. Don't you think I should do the gate to that? Yes, I'm going to sack the Rivulet for sure. Because we can put 4 cards in the graveyard. If we can somehow get there. It's not going to happen, though. This is just the worst. Because now I believe... Why do you... Yeah, I guess you don't want to crew with the... Let's see. It's going to hit all of my targets I want to have. Never mind, a bunch of lands. We hit 2, though. And I think I die no matter what I hit next turn. Needs to be a Ballista. Minister of Inquiries is not good. Yeah, we die. All right, we'll go on to the sideboard. That was awful. That was like a mulligan to 4, though. So... And the worst part about it is I show everything that I have. So we'll bring in just the... anti-aggro. I don't think I bring in Bonte's Last Reckoning. It's kind of bad versus both the Heart of Cran and the Scrapbeach Scrounger. We do want the Hopes. We do want the Ministers. We want everything in block. So typically what I take out, we'll take out a Metalwork Colossus and a God Pharaoh's Gift, and then take out their strategic plannings is usually how I like to do this. Pretty bad. Keeping the 2 Metalwork Colossuses and not finding the way to get rid of them. No chart the course, no Champion of Wits. That's always going to lose the game. Would really like a draw discard land or a loot or something like Jace would be so good. The best thing would be for the stack is another like Smuggler's Copter. Really wish like with Ixalan they would have printed a fix to the Smuggler's Copter. Make it some just dumb pirate ship 2/1 ground creature crew 1. Have the same thing that the Smuggler's Copter has. I think that'd be golden for this deck. All right, yes, we'd like to go first. Let's not see 2 Metalwork Colossuses, but how about 3 Marionette Masters? No land. Okay, well, this was just not a match that MT Joe wanted us to play. Oh, dirty. Would be great if these were 2 lands. I would love this hand. And still gives us a weak link, but this at least allows us to have some. I'm going to do chart the course as it guarantees, or Drown Cataclysm, it guarantees the chart the course. We need to chart the course out next turn, even if the Beaumont Courier comes down. Exemplar, yeah, I'm still going to chart the course. We need to find some way out of this. But we draw into all lands. So now we're back to the same scenario we were game 1. See if the Heart of Cran, that's a rough draw, especially if my opponent gets a Scrap Heap Scrounger. So, yep, there's the land. I think this is good game. We need to draw into Champion. I don't know, even with Champion, I think we're dead. I think I have to block the Heart of Cran here. Yep, Cruise here. My opponent has the 1, 2, 3 perfect draw. And that is going to be all she wrote. But again, this was a match that was unwinnable with, yeah. Can't win it. Alrighty, match number 4. This seems like a much better hand than the hands we've been having. We'll go ahead and keep it. Chart the course would have been better than strategic plannings. This is going to be the Teamer Energy. Hopefully it's not a Long Tusk Cub, because we actually have a pretty good hand versus Teamer Energy to start setting up what we need. So I'm just going to start with an island into play, and depending on what my opponent puts out, might be Clinton S. Crane. Long Tusk Cub, oh, not the Cub draw. We can make him use his energy, though, to push through. And we find a gate. So that was really good. Put a worthless gate on the bottom. So we get to push through that. And again, my opponent will have to use the energy here, which sometimes can be not what they want to be doing. Okay, it's got the Rogue Refiner anyway. So we're going to go Champion next turn. It gives us something to do with. So again, these strategic plannings, I want a creature that does a similar ability. That would be ideal. We lost a bunch of them in Innistrad. But we're going to get rid of Marionette Master. And at this point, I do believe that we're going to get rid of a strategic planning. I think it is the weak link. So unfortunately, Mr. Cub is probably going to push through. Let's see if a Bristling Hydra comes down here. We'll block the Rogue Refiner, of course. And this is where Hosh's Taker is really good, because even if they kill it, it resets the Long Tusk Cub. And here we have a pretty good start. There's, of course, draw the other Gate to the Afterlife, but that's fine. We're going to go Gate to the Afterlife. And then we're actually going to go the Minister of Inquiries, and it can block the Long Tusk Cub. And then we're actually in pretty good shape after this. A Braid, of course, is a card that can give us problems. But here we go. We had Mardu's God Draw last game, and now we have Teamer's God Draw. So if we can beat this, it will really show you how well it can beat the Teamer. I think the only thing that Teamer better could happen here would be the Glorybringer there. Strategic planning is probably better than chart a course at this point. Unfortunately, we're only sitting at 4 creatures in the graveyard, Walking Ballistas. We need to find one off of strategic planning next turn. And then the Marionette Master is most likely going to have to play the defensive role. Did not want to hit into another hub, but it is what it is. We're going to go ahead and strategic planning. Come on, hit the creatures. Perfect. We'll take a hub. And double Metalwork Colossus can actually work here. Because now we do have the gate to the afterlife. So, does my opponent want to try to block? I don't think. Whoa, wait. Can we do? We can just win here. I just win. Because we create, the Marionette Masters create 3, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. We win. Okay, I'll show you. So we're going to go gate to the afterlife. Because we have 2 Metalwork Colossuses. Yes. Get the God Pharaoh's gift. We're going to go to attacks. This will put out Marionette Master. And we want servos this time. And we have exactly 20 damage. We are going to skip our attack phase. I could attack in, but our Marionette Master could actually die. But it's pointless to attack in because we have the lethal on board. We're going to cast Walking Ballista for 0. Puts us down to 16. And we have double Metalwork Colossuses. So we got really lucky there, but that was an insane draw by Teamer. And wow, you can actually double activate it. I still need 1 Metalwork Colossus for this anyway. You can actually respond to this. That's crazy. So you actually only needed the 1 Metalwork Colossus. I'll have to remember that in the future. All right. That's all she wrote. Crazy. Let's go to the sideboard. This is usually where I do bring in Bontu / Reckoning and Aethersphere Harvester. Trophy Mages are good here too. So Spell Swindles can be good in this particular match, but what we end up taking out is Strategic Planning. And I do take out 1 Metalwork Colossus and usually 1 God's Chosen Gift, but they tend to be pretty good in this match. So I think what we're going to take out is maybe we just not want 2 Aethersphere Harvesters. They're the right number, I would say. And I think Hope of Garipers are actually the weak link here. We want at least some sort of chart, of course. You want to stick around that 25 creatures. I think one of the problems I was having in those matchups earlier is I was going down to 21 creatures. And then it just doesn't have enough cards in our graveyard. I think this is barely keepable. I could get really punished for this. We still do have the chart the course, and we need to draw into a champion. We are on the draw, so this does give us something to... And no Tune with Aether, that's good. And we hit our island, that's okay. It gets us closer to where we need to be. And now my opponent does top deck into a Tune, which is going to slow them down. So it's going to go get an island, not a mountain, huh? Okay, that's good news. That's the perfect card to draw into. It gives us something to do. And now we can easily mill ourselves. And oh, Champion was so beautiful. We're going to mill. So Rogue Refiner, I assume, is coming down here. Find at least 1 creature off that activation. Which statistically it should get a little bit under, a little bit over 2, right? Because 3 cards, 25 creatures in the deck. Okay, so we have the, we'll cast the other swamp here. Champion. Another Tune. Have to worry about a Braids for this deck list. And this is the insane amount of energy that my opponent's able to throw out. And does not attack in. So we do have to play around those Braids. We will get eventually up to the amount needed for the gate. So do I just hold the gate and play these 2? I might just do that. Whoops, forgot to mill myself, but I'm actually okay that that didn't happen. Because I'm going to establish an Aethersphere Harvester threat. And go another Minister of Inquiries. And it's a cycle on the Sheltered Thicket. So my opponent just like top decked all into attunes and lands? That was weird. Didn't play a first turn attune. Oh, had lands in hand, but top deck into attunes is what must have happened. And here's what's funny, because this is the route you can go mill. Because we have 15 cards, 19 cards we can mill here. But I don't want to. I want my opponent to tap out so we can do the Abrade or do the God Pharaoh's Gift. And if my opponent doesn't tap out, we're going to start smashing it with Aethys or Harvester to begin with. And there's the tap out. So I think we win here. Confiscation coup is okay. All right. We're just making sure it's tapped. Oh, didn't attack in. But we have a lot of mills here. That does stop my 1-2 punch. Oh, I can't mill there. But, ooh, Marriott Master's fine here. We do have the Gate to the Afterlife online, right? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we do need to mill some more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Throw it out. I did put the other Gate to the Afterlife in, so it's still in my... but I don't have the artifact for it. So we are going to go Marionette Master. We don't quite have the damage, though. So do I want to go +1/+1 counter since I have the other Marionette Master in hand? Or do I want to go servos? And my opponent scoops, but he's actually not dead, because I can only do 16 this time, not 20. So that was a preemptive scoop. It's close, because 4, 8, 12, 16, and 17, 18, 19. I can do 19 damage, because the attack with the Marionette Master blocks with the Rogue Refiner. That's 3. Yeah, I'm 1 damage off, because the 3 servos come into play. And then we have the 4, 8, 12, 16, 16, 17, 18, 19. Yep. So if I didn't have to do the mill with the Minister of Incourse, we could have won there. So you can see this deck, turn 5, happens a lot. Temur Energy is one of the matchups that were a little bit too quick for them. I wouldn't say any of those draws were terrible. That one was okay. We'll go on to the final match, see if we can salvage a 3-2 finish and at least get our money back. All right, match 5, off to a bad start. You could potentially keep this, because the Aether Up can actually tap for anything the next turn. We draw into a land, we get the Chart the Course, and then we're golden, but I don't think it's worthwhile to keep. This is actually okay with the 4 lands. I like to keep lands. Definitely put that land on the bottom. We have what we need here. So the strategic planning can find us like the champion or a Chart the Course. So typically, like, this hand keeps hands very... The only time you're mulliganing is usually when you have the 1 lands or no lands. So that's what I like. And we got the chart here. That's going to make it so the God Pharaoh's Gift isn't useless. We'll throw out the Rivulet and pass the turn. See what my opponent is playing. It looks like another Temur match. Ooh, nope. Another Deeper Champion match. See what we're actually playing against. The Crane is kind of neat here. I'll use it. We're going to use the energy. Womp womp. I actually wanted those cards too. Oh well. So an Aether Hub. And does not attack in. Should have just at least, I don't know if I would have even blocked it there. There's a Gate to the Afterlife though, so it found it the next turn. So we're going to go strategic planning, I believe. And take a chart the course. Yeah. That sucks, but at least we get some useless lands in the graveyard. Now this is some sort of, this one might be built more of a tempo strategy. So we could see end of turn the counterspell. It's just going to unsummon the Gluttonous Crane. Okay, sure. Not that big of an issue. And then opt. Yeah, it's just going to try to go in. Very similar to the first matchup we played. Did someone win with this recently? I don't know. I know a lot of people playing this Merfolk Deeproot Champion. A 2 with Aether. I mean, it gets big. But we have chump blocks galore coming up. Hope of Ghirapur is actually nice because we can actually put out... Ooh, there's a negate. For the Gate to the Afterlife. I'm going to risk it. And it hits. Because this gives us a blocker. With the Hope. Gives us a looter. Could get a braided here, the Gate to the Afterlife in a turn. Another unsummon on the Hope of Ghirapur, sure. Could happen. So this, it's just trying that this deck is so dependent on that turn 2 Deeproot Champion. What does it do when they don't have it? I mean, they're opting like crazy to get their turn 1. Pretty good little tech against like the Torrential Gearhulk decks for sure. Probably not too bad against the Roundup Red, because the unsummon's actually pretty good. Here we can throw the God Pharaoh's Gift in the bin. I don't like it, but it is what it is. And they're going to use a Cryptic Serpent, which is another big card. Ugh. Well, let's start. Ooh, yeah, that was bad. I'm going to use the blue here. Guess it doesn't matter. For the Gluttonous Crane. Hopefully this one hits an artifact. Perfect. There's the Walking Ballista. I don't think I can quite get there. I think I'm just going to cast the Walking Ballista to give myself a blocker. Now we're in good shape. Another Deeproot Champion. And you're going to go Riddle form. So, do I want to kill it? As opposed to taking some damage. I think damage is actually more important. Or, yeah, avoiding damage. This is a much better built deck than the first one. We only have one creature in the graveyard, is the problem. Okay, so we do get this lovely block here and this lovely block here. As well as a damage that might be relevant. Well, that sucked. Another God Pharaoh's Gift in the bin. But do we have lethal here now with that Hope of Ghirapur? There's the Colossus. We needed that. Okay, we have 5. I was like, do we still don't have 5? So we don't have lethal here because we still need to throw that on Metalwork Colossus in the bin. All right, we're cracking the gate. So, unfortunately, we don't have the way to do the lethal if I attacked in. But I will attack in with the Marionette Master because my opponent does not block its lethal. I don't know why my opponents don't see this coming, so it's over. Thanks, dude. Unsummon does not work again, as it's on activation, not on resolution. But yeah, I guess the whole thing is people haven't seen this deck. That's the whole point of running rogue decks. Is let me tell you a story about that one. Wanting my opponent to figure out they've lost or to write something mean to me. Usually that's what it is. In one of the last PTQs before they got rid of PTQs, I was playing in Vegas, about 100+ man tournament, and it was before Conley Woods started doing his dredge strategy in Theros, and Mono Black Devotion was the deck. Just everyone was playing it, and I ran the tables with the my Jund Dredge deck just because no one could figure out what the hell I was doing. And literally the last slot in my deck was Deathrite Shaman. It was something that I needed another creature to fill up my graveyard. It at least had some synergy with any sort of land that went to my graveyard that I could then ramp. And every game, almost every game, I'd go turn 1 Deathrite and they'd kill it immediately because everyone was still, I think it was still legal in Modern or just been recently banned. And everyone, they'd see a Deathrite and just have to kill it. And I'd be like, thanks, because it was so useless in my deck. And then they'd need that removal spell later on, and wouldn't have it. So the whole thing, though, is the cat was out of the bag. A month later, I think I played it at a GP, and everyone knew exactly what to do because they'd seen all the Conley Woods has really popularized the deck. But anyway, so that's why I like running rogue decks, is because a lot of people just don't understand how to play against it. Speaking of playing, though, Bonta's Last Reckoning is okay. We could be running in a counterspell magic, but I still think it's worthwhile to bring in. The Spell Pierce is something I could bring in as well because it's the way to push through the Bonta's Last Reckoning. However, my opponent might not be putting it in. We could be bringing in Trophy Mage for the Harvester, but I think Harvester just becomes outclassed. So I think that the only thing we'll take out is just 2 strategic plannings, and I'm not going to bring in the Spell Pierce against this particular deck because a lot of times I just don't think it. I'm going to put in one Spell Pierce, the YOLO Spell Pierce. Oh, maybe I should get rid of the Metalwork Colossus. Oh well, I submitted. This is interesting. Another 1-lander. I don't think I keep it though. The Chart the Course makes this. Well, I am on the play, but I'm going to mulligan it. And this is a much better hand. Really, really good. My opponent also mulligans. Rivulet's something I probably do want on top, just to guarantee the land drops. And the cool thing about is Chart the Course is we can actually use it on turn 2 without having to get rid of our own cards, because we don't have anything we want to go to the graveyard. So if we attack in with the Hope of Garper, it gives us that option. See if the Deep Root comes out. Opt. Okay, so no Deep Root this turn. Hope of Garper is kind of fun too in this against this matchup. Yeah, and I think that we're just going to chart a course after we attack. And getting our opponents down to 19, 18, 17 is significant. We've seen that in plenty of matchups before. Yep, found our land. Awesome. We have all these Minister of Inquiries, though, which mill is a viable strategy versus this deck, I would say. I don't want to do it now because it just really sets up my opponent's Serpents, but my opponent is doing a good job going through their own deck. Marionette Master is perfect for the champion. And we have a decent little aggro going on. So goodbye, goodbye. And my opponent's down to an 18. The aggressive little one-drop flyer. We have Champion of the Wits next turn to help us dig even further. There's another opt. It'll be hilarious if we can mill our opponent, because they're already down to 47 cards. We have chump blockers galore. It's happened versus Teamer Energy. Long Test Cub was on like a bazillion, and we just had to play the block route. Block mill, block mill, block mill. Another Marionette Master. This is something we will champion away. Something I could actually keep in my hand because we're close to actually just casting it. But I think I'm actually going to go Marionette Master, Minister of Inquiries. Get the creatures guaranteed in the graveyard. And we can actually go a couple different routes next turn with the Hope of Garipur guaranteeing the Gate to the Afterlife in. So Riddle Form, Cryptic Serpent. I have an option here. I am just going to block. Even Attune's in this deck. So again, all this is helping my opponent mill. Oh, didn't you learn your lesson last time of tapping out, my friend? I don't think that is the right course of action. We do not have the good old Colossus, though. Another Hope of Garipur. That's going to be nice because we will activate it after the fact. So we'll put out the Rivulet. I do need to mill myself. I guess Ceremonious Rejection could be in this. So we don't quite have it at the moment. Let's hope for some luck here. We just need one card. Womp womp. Gonna unsummon the Hope of Garipur. It happens. Ooh, we're going to hit it no matter what next turn. Right? Yeah, I'm going to leave this Hope in. That was a pretty unlucky little mill. Chart the course, Spell Pierce Island. Did require an unsummon. Which is a Marionette Master, of course. So I think this deck is always, the Marionette Master is going to be servos. All right, you get instant damage here, good sir, but we get to mill. And we found the Metalwork Colossus. There we go, we have it. So we have to worry about the Dispossess, or not Dispossess, excuse me, the Censor, what is the one that, oh, my opponent just scoops it up. Nope, nose is dead there. All right, so we redeem ourselves. End up going 3-2 again. That one of those matchups, though, against the Mardu, That was completely unplayable. Both those hands just gave the worst runs possible. And I even say the match before that versus the hidden stockpiles was some very, very awkward. I mean, it went late where we want. You saw how explosive all those look. Turn 6 every time we've been having it, and that particular matchup it just wasn't happening. I might have played horribly into the Ixalan's bindings. However, yeah, I think that was I could have miffed that matchup. But and the game number 1, I guess I could have gone for the mill. Should have gone with my instincts. But anyway, 3-2 is not bad. The deck's solid. I like playing it. It is pretty fun. It does get a little bit redundant, but there is a lot of decisions to be made. And a lot of times you can just catch your opponent off guard with the combo. So, hope you enjoyed this. We'll continue to keep trying to mess around with the numbers in this deck. Hostage Taker might, when a lot of these all-in creature-based strategies like the last one is played, might end up being a very, very good card to put in. It actually would be a very decent card versus the Mardu as well, because it can grab their Heart of Khorans and then cast it a few turns later after that. So, yeah, I thought about search for Azcanta as a 1-of too. So we're going to mess around with a lot of the numbers in it, and I'll let you know how it's going. Be sure to watch Gathering Magic this week. I have a very, very juicy brew. It's phenomenal. It performed phenomenal. I'll have the last match on my channel. I'm not going to spoil too much of it, but it is one of my top 10 list cards, and probably the most fun I've had playing Modern in a long time, as it just beats up on Death Shadow, and anything beats up on Death Shadow is going to be a favorite of mine, because I'm sick of that deck. Anyway, this has been Kevin with RogueDeckBuilder.com. If you enjoy watching these video series, be sure to support us over at GoneRogueGames.com to buy singles, or over at RogueDeckBuilder.com to buy a playmat to sport at your local game store. Or we do have the Rivals of Ixalan, or excuse me, the Explorers of Ixalan, as well as the Iconic Master pre-orders up. And we try to match eBay prices so you get cheap product and support us simultaneously while doing so. Just a win-win for everyone. Again, all the proceeds go to a good cause of keeping the channel up and running, as well as Gone Rogue Games up and running. As always, thanks for watching.